Hello, how's everybody doing tonight? How you guys doing? Yeah, everybody's good? Yeah, I like it. A little cheery. Woohoo! All right, welcome everybody to I think this is our 54th show, so that's pretty sick. Every time I say the next number, it always gets better. But thank you guys all for coming out today. We're always excited to be at YSpace and with all of our partners. There's always some excitement around all the companies that are here, but obviously we're all here to see some great companies pitch. So because we like to celebrate and show off the companies that are pitching at the events, which help you guys from a startup perspective. So please, and I never actually did this until last week when we did our Skip the Line event, and when we got everybody to post prior to the event, it actually helped out huge. So a lot of people started getting a lot more looks than talk points for the startup. So we'll do it again today. So if you guys can hashtag pitchityork and push OPN and the startup that you like, that you saw, it's hugely valuable to that startup. And we know you guys are here to support startups, right? Okay, good, just making sure. All right, so today we have a pretty good agenda. We're gonna have some great startups that are going to be pitching, and that's really what we're here for. We're also gonna have a team come in which is called Jelly Social, and some of the things that we're gonna be integrating with them is gonna be pretty cool when we move to City Hall. We're looking at running the venue a little bit different than we have in the past. And before we were doing 4 or 5 startups pitching. Now we've decided that we want to keep it engaging and keep everybody active and fun. So you have 300 plus people coming to an event. And now what we're going to be doing at City Hall is that we will do breakout sessions. So there'll be a panel. Then there'll be 2 companies pitching, which are 7-minute pitches. There'll be some questions and QA from those, and then a wrap up. And then we'll do our keynote, 30-second pitches, and then we're going to dive into breakouts. So there'll be some angels in the room, there'll be some business advisors, business companies, and Jelly Social to help us all network with these companies and get in there and find problems that you're having and start talking to them on how they can help solve them. So we're trying to find ways to engage the community more into the angel community at the same time, and business. So here's wow, this screen gets crazier every time you see it. So here's the startups that have pitched with us throughout the years. We've had lots of great companies that have all gone on, grown, and become hopefully more successful from the day that they pitched with us. And some of them we've actually invested in as well. So some of the numbers, and you guys are going to help increase this because they're going to sign up for our emails and sign up to hashtag pitchityork. But we've worked with being 53 shows to date, 54 today, lots of attendees, lots of pitches, 28 speakers, lots of 7 workshops, 140 showcases, and 100,000 monthly social impressions and lots of emails that we've shared. So as we grow with you guys, we're all part of that same community, growing and helping each other get in front of the world of online investing, if you will. So upcoming events. Next month, we are at pitchityork, which will be, I believe it's here, no, Seneca College, so Helix. And then we have our Skip the Line event, which is our newest event. We ran our 3rd one last week, and we converted it and made it into an actual angel investment opportunity. It's a paid closed pitch event. Some of the companies that will pitch here today will be pitching in November. And we work with these companies to get them angel ready, angel investment. And this is the event we do this at. There's 10 companies that pitch. It's a paid closed pitch event, so not only are the startups paying to be there, but so are the investors, and so are if anybody's coming to watch how screening works. So it's a pre-screening for all of these angel groups, but we've also made it an investment group. So we've brought in investors to also vet the companies. So yesterday we did our first deep dive on 7 of the companies that pitched. And we're taking them through to hopefully having a couple of them getting investing so that when they do go and syndicate to an angel group, they can say that OPN's put in X amount of dollars into them. That will help them move a lot further along. And then from there, we carry into City Hall, as I discussed. And then we have 2 other events, again, back at York YSpace. And then we're working in a conference, which is one we did last year at the Iranian community. So that's downtown at Toronto Metro Convention Center. So we created our first fund just shy of 2 years ago. We've invested and reinvested in a couple of different companies. To date, we're probably close to 20 investments just through the fund. And we are now working on our second fund, which is our $5 million fund, and we will be opening this up. It's kind of open right now, but we've been in discussions to start working more on this side. So we'll be making investments from this fund in the next couple weeks as well into, again, hand-selected companies that we've been working with over the last few months. So if you're interested to be part of the fund, you can reach out to me here. And if on the other side, if you're a startup company, well, we're probably already talking with you. And if we haven't, then feel free to reach out too. So as I mentioned, skip the line, 10 companies, 7-minute pitches, 10 minutes of Q&A. So that's kind of what we shoot for. Some of the interesting things that have come about this is that we've taken, we first started 3 years ago and we said, you know what, we'll match angel group pitches. And that was an 11-minute pitch. We are now doing 7-minute pitches because we found that 11 minutes was just too damn long and a waste of breath. So we wanted to make it as precise as possible and to the point so that we don't lose attention span, and that's why 7 minutes is now the perfect pitch. And we work up to that from 3 to 5. And then that way you can spend more time in QA discussing your business and learning from it versus spending 11 minutes talking and making stuff up. 5 groups are part of this, and then some syndication, and again, the next event's on the 12th. So one of the cool things that I wanted to share with you guys is, how many of you guys were at pitchitTOcityhall? So there was a few of you guys. So you guys started to hear about my talk about Fireside, and then as we played the video, we got in halfway, and City Hall's terrible Wi-Fi shut down, and we only got to saw, I think, 3 minutes of the 6-minute video. So it's pretty amazing. Just to give you guys an idea of what it is, it's an entrepreneurial weekend, and it is spent in a cabin, sleeping in a wood cabin, and I think it was classified as grown adults sleeping in a 9-year-old bed because it's a bunk bed made of wood and it's a mattress. So we've been doing this for 5 years, and we have spent, in the last 3 years, OPN has been part of it, running our pitch events and working at Fireside. This year we decided to go in as volunteers, and we worked with the group to help prepare for everybody coming in. They have 400 plus people that come to the event, angel investors, VCs, government, and a lot of entrepreneurs and startups. We did run our event. It was awesome. We found we had 21 companies go through our workshop. We worked that down to 5 companies pitching in front of the audience, and we picked our top, I think it was top 3, where they receive Fireside tickets to next year, dinner, and all that good stuff. So why is this place amazing? Well, it kind of embodies a lot of what we do at OPN, about helping startups get ready for funding and work with the community to build their businesses and grow. And these guys are all about that. There's no phone for the weekend. You spend the entire time getting out of your comfort zone and working with other entrepreneurs, going to workshops, watching Fireside chats, and just learning from other people and meeting other people. And there's a whole other story I talked about on the volunteer side, but I won't get into that. We can share that story if you're ever interested. But what I did want to do is I wanted to play you guys the video, because this will just get you all excited. And if you are interested in going through, we've set up a structure with Fireside to help you guys get better affordable tickets, because it is a $2,500 event. And we've set it up so that it won't cost you as much, and you'll get the same, if not a better experience. I don't know how it's going to be better, but we'll make sure it is. So I'm going to play the video, and if you're interested, you guys can reach out. But yeah, if you're interested, guys, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help put that through, because we're big fans. And of course, going 5 years in a row, I learned a lot. So, Okay, so today, our sponsors, we want to thank our sponsors, which is Global Payments, One Core Media, Bateman McKay, Miller Thompson, System Bind, New Track, Flow, Mindful, Vibe, Startup York, York Angels, and York University, and my software company, Hardboot. So let's give them a hand because these guys have done a great job helping us out. Thank you, thank you. Today we have some great advisors that are going to give us some feedback. Angelo, I'm going to start with you, and you can give a little bit about yourself. As much as I always like to introduce you guys, it probably sounds better coming from you. So, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm an angel investor with York Angels, Maple Leaf Angels, Spark Angels, several groups. Do a fair bit of investment in collaboration with the Supporters Fund, with JP. Prior to doing angel investment, I was a director at NRC IRAP, managing a budget of $10 million per year. And before that, I had my own startup, exited, and that's why I'm sitting next to someone that has significant wealth, Mr.
Not true, not true. Hey guys, it's Mike. Been here a couple times before and glad to be back after a nice summer. So I'm a full-time investor and advisor through my business, Park Hill Ventures, and also a member of York Angel Investors. Prior to that, I have 15 years experience working for tech companies, all the way from startup to multi-billion-dollar companies. I was a vice president of sales for a large company that went public on the NASDAQ, but it was a modest exit, Angelo, despite what you may say. But my passion is investing, working with startups, and helping people grow their business.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arshad. I've got a varied experience in technology and hospitality industries. I've had the opportunity to start up a bunch of companies. I've got some successful exits, a lot of failures, a lot of lessons learned along the ways. And right now I'm spending a lot of my time as an angel investor trying to help other companies and help other people that want to build their businesses.
And you got some sick hair, so that's good. All right, thank you very much, guys. Thank you, and welcome. Glad to have you guys back. So the companies that are going to be pitching today, Satellite Farms, Stork Supply, Bud Tender, Level, Mentorees. There we go, and Elias. One thing that I'll throw out there is I believe Bud Tender is the only one currently going to be doing a 7-minute pitch. Everybody else is doing 3 to 5, which are working their way up to a 7-minute pitch, as we previously talked about. So welcome, big hand for you guys for coming out. Thank you very much. So the team, we have Laura, who is over there. She's the driver, makes everything happen. We have Brian on the cameras in the back, makes everything happen on the film side. Mike is our DJ. He's not here today. He's more only comes to the bigger events. But let's give a hand for the team that helps make all this happen, because they are rock stars. This slide. So, yeah, the bun's still there. I got to get a new picture. So a bit about myself, angel investor full-time. We run this VC arm where we help startups go from early stage to investments. I've been investing in companies for about 10 years, and I've been working with startups for about 20. So outside of that, if you're interested to learn a bit more, I have the stuff on LinkedIn. You guys can look me up, add me, and just say where we met, and we can go from there. But yeah, it's all that good stuff. Anyways, thank you. All right, so today, format, as we discussed, 3 to 5 minute pitches, 1 7 minutes. It will be 2 minutes of feedback from the advisors, which means that they will be doing 1 minute each. Normally, we will have only 2 of you. So 2 of you will pick to talk, and you'll have 1 minute each of feedback. And then we'll go to the crowd for a couple of questions from each one of, we'll do up to about 5 minutes of Q&A. So if you guys have questions, obviously, please raise your hand, and the startup will provide that answer. During the pitch, when the advisor provides feedback, there's no feedback from the startup. They will just thank you go on to the next advisor, thank you, and then when it goes to the crowd, they will answer those questions. Just because the advisors will provide a lot of questions, and we don't want it to drag on for an hour between the advisor and the startup, we want to get specific questions whereas they're giving feedback. So hopefully that works out for everybody, and we will jump right into it. All right, so first up, Stork Supply.
Hello? Yep. All right, well, hi everyone. My name is Matt. I am the proud father of two and the founder of Stork Supply, which is a company that's on a mission to help parents get the very best baby gear available without the costs and hassles associated with ownership. And our goal is to be the place where the next generation of parents get their baby supplies. And when I'm talking about the next generation of parents, I'm talking about millennials and Generation Z, who happen to be the two biggest consumer cohorts in history, and they're also coming into their childbearing years as we speak. They also shop differently, and that's summed up nicely by this New York Times headline, which is, they see it, they like it, they want it, they rent it, which alludes to the fact that people want experiences over things and access over ownership. And we know because dozens of companies have popped up and industries have popped up to service this type of consumption, but the baby gear industry hasn't kept pace. So we're still getting our equipment through traditional retailers, both online and offline, that are revolving around ownership. And ownership with baby gear creates problems. It creates an inconvenient, expensive, wasteful, and inefficient system, and that's largely driven by the fact that baby equipment is expensive, it's built to last a long time, but has very brief utility windows, and that makes decision-making hard for parents. So we have a hard time finding the right products to buy, and then even a harder time dealing with the equipment once our baby has grown out of it. So Stork Supply is designed to address all of that. It's a web-based solution that offers leases and bundles on a curated selection of equipment, and again, designed to make things more convenient, less expensive, less wasteful, and overall more efficient. And we do that by extending the lifespan of our products, having multiple efficient use periods throughout that lifespan while cleaning and maintaining everything. And we also make things easier for customers by offering bundles and recommendations instead of generic lists. White glove delivery service that includes pickup, so people don't have to worry about what to do with the equipment when baby grows out of it. So it is a web-based service, and as such, the website is the hub of our platform. And on the front end, we want it to be, we're building a simple, fun shopping experience that is powered by smart technology that will include things like AI-powered registries and bundles, which will be fueled by proprietary data. So we're going to be collecting data that hasn't been collected before around product usage and consumer preferences. The opportunity for the business is substantial. Right now, we're looking at about, in the local market, $180 million focused on durable goods. But as we expand our product portfolio and expand our geographic reach, that opportunity gets up to over $100 billion. And our goal is to supply 20% of the baby products required by 10% of the babies born in each of our chosen markets. If we can do that, we're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And what's exciting about that is we can do it profitably. So if we look at a streamlined example, our business model, our revenue model is simple and straightforward. We take a product that typically sells for $100, buy it for $60, generate $200 in revenue over the lifetime of the product, spend $20 cleaning and maintaining it. And at the end of the day, we're left with about $120 or a 60% gross margin. So where are we now? Started the company in November 2017. Have had steady revenue growth over that time, and good over 200 customers have used the service during that time as well. We're ranked as one of the top 2% of Founder Institute portfolio companies since graduating in February, and had a lot of success on the supplier side of things. We've got all the top brands that these young parents are coveting. More important than that, we get really great feedback from our customers. People really do love the service and the concept behind it. So the next step is to find more of these customers, and our go-to-market strategy is to follow sort of what a lot of the online, offline hybrid businesses are doing, and that is building densely connected networks on an organic first, city-by-city basis, and that involves effective marketing, effective operations and logistics, and then building for growth, so building a better product, better brand that people enjoy engaging with. So to serve, and the team behind it right now is sort of the solo hustler phase. I'm the founder and CEO. I've got a great network of advisors and contractors helping me out, but my next goal is to grow that team out, and to support that, I'm looking to raise some money, a pre-seed round, which will allow me to implement this foundation building plan, execute on that plan, and then again, build a business that is ready to expand into new markets in 2021 and beyond. Thank you very much.
Perfect. That was a great job. Thank you. Who would like to start?
Thanks very much, Matt. That was great. What I liked most was that you had a revenue model that was pretty clear. The business itself was also very clear, and your gross margin was great. So obviously a great business model, and it's something that you could potentially scale. When I look at businesses sort of like this, my first thought is always there must have been someone in Silicon Valley that's already tried that, right? Or some competitors that are there right now already doing it. So that would be my only advice, pitching in Toronto. Talk about the past experiences with companies that may have tried this in Silicon Valley. Maybe it was too early, maybe it didn't work for a reason. Why is now the time that it's going to work? And also talk about the competition out there right now. But otherwise, yeah, great presentation.
So, good presentation. I like your vision, and I concur with Mike in terms of the revenue model. It's clear, simple. I can see it. So good. In terms of what I think could really strengthen this, when you're looking at presenting to an audience of investors that are being asked to pony up $450,000, which is your ask, you need to also provide the mechanism for that 450. What are the terms? What's the valuation of the company? How is that going to be distributed from the investor community into yourself, and what expectations are there, and equity position? On the on a similar note, in terms of competitive landscape, who's out in the market? What strengths and weaknesses do they have relative to you? I think what would be really good is to expand on what your business and or technical moat is, to prevent others from saying, wow, I saw Matt and he has this great idea and I'm going to replicate it. So I didn't get that sense of, is there something here that really prevents that from doing? And the one thing that I would hope is that you're not doing that wonderful missionary work so that your competitors can come in there. So that's the advice that I would provide.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Here's the mic. All right, who's got questions?
Yeah, so the business model was pretty interesting, but I was kind of curious if you had any thoughts about how you plan to scale. Because if, from what I got from the presentation, is that you would be buying, say, a cradle or something, and then you keep it on hand, maintain it, then you rent it out. But once it comes back to you, do you just hold that on hand? Like, how does that happen when you get from like 100 customers to, say, like 10,000?
Yeah, so it's a good question. The idea would still be to be the hub, so own equipment and maintain the equipment throughout its lifespan. And I think as the business scales, you could be very efficient with that and share resources between locations. But the hub model allows you to really extract a lot more money out of the products than you would otherwise be able to, just being a marketplace or something along those lines.
Thanks, Matt, for that. I totally recognize the problem statement because I just encountered this 2 weeks ago. So my daughter from 2 years, she grew out of her car seat. And we said, okay, we don't need this anymore. And we took it to Value Village to donate it. And they basically rejected it, saying it's a liability. We don't know whether it's safe or not. So how are you guaranteeing to the person who's renting that this is safe and liable? Because in the end, my precious child is going to be there. Or in any other.
Yeah, so it's a good question. Car seats specifically, we are not doing right now for that very reason. But with the other products, the idea is to make it a very safe and clean and efficient operation. So having professional cleaners, professionals maintaining and inspecting products in between uses to make sure that everything is working the way it should. Outside of car seats, it's relatively simple to sort of track the condition of the equipment and make sure that everything is safe and clean and ready to use.
And also, what products are there? Are there strollers and those kind of things?
Yeah, so right now the focus is on big ticket items like strollers, cribs, bassinets, activity centers, and the like. But the idea is to move into smaller products as well through bundling services.
Did you discuss acquisition opportunities with baby gear manufacturers?
In the presentation or in real life? Okay, no, so I've been in conversation, so I get equipment directly from manufacturers, so I'm in touch with them and developing relationships with them, but haven't spoken specifically about acquisition prospects. I imagine manufacturers are one option, and more likely, I would imagine traditional baby gear retailers might be another opportunity as well.
Great presentation, Matt. What is your give back to the community in terms of corporate social responsibility?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I do want to make this a values-based organization, and so one of the things that I want to do is make sure that we're donating equipment that is still has a lot of life left in it, but maybe not in the kind of condition that we can use on our platform. I'm also trying to explore opportunities to partner with manufacturers and other charities to do like one-for-one registries where people are getting, where we're donating the use of equipment for every item that gets fulfilled on a Stork Supply registry.
Would you consider going into making your own products if you find that one of your top products, and just making this up, but say it is the crib, and you find that a lot of people are interested in this crib, that you go into manufacturing your Stork crib because you can obviously get more margins out of it. You're going to have a good way. You've generated over the last, say, 2 years some really good value in that product. Mm-hmm. Would you then produce your own and go into market that way?
Yeah, I think it's something that I've thought about and certainly would explore as the business grows. I think there's a lot of opportunities to either do it sort of in-house or partner with manufacturers to build products that are made for this type of use, as opposed to the way things are being built now, which may involve a lot of sacrifices to make things more affordable for parents.
So building in durability so that you can attack the market, and that would be a great business model to generate revenues off of what you're doing. If you're getting something back in 3 years and it looks exactly like you when you gave it to them, versus a broken down, beat up.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, thank you very much. That was great. Thank you. So I guess to do just a quick summary for that, so I think in the presentation, throwing in some of your moat competitor analysis to give a better view of what the competitors are doing in the market, and then of course looking at ways that you're going to be able to hit the market and generate more parents and what that would look like and who's that person coming after, and then of course the end result is, are you able to scale into different areas to make different revenues that are going to grow your bottom line. But thank you very much. That was great. Okay, mentorees, you're up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Simon. I'm a partner in a company called Mentorees. The problem that our business addresses in the marketplace is that managing an effective mentoring program with real, tangible learning outcomes is hard. We solve this. Since 2017, our EdTech SaaS platform has supported 10 mentoring programs, reaching 10,000 mentors, mentees, and administrators in universities and associations. I'm just going to read a customer testimonial which really kind of sums up our position in the market. This comes from one of our customers all the way in Australia. We have 3 Australian universities as customers, and we can't really explain why. So we're trying to work on our Canadian universities. The software provides an easy and cost-effective way to get students and professionals meaningfully connected. We have seen a lot of great outcomes come about for students because of it. So hopefully with our software, the proof is in the pudding. We're hoping to be, or we're going to be, the market leader in Canada. We even have a little red flag that says Made in Canada on there. But the North American opportunity is humongous. There are over 500,000 associations, 25,000 universities, and over 500,000 corporations that are all potential, either have mentoring programs that they need help with or could implement mentoring programs. In terms of our competition, in Canada, there's really only a couple of players. Most of the other players are American. But there's no real main player in the marketplace. It's in its mentoring software is in its early growth stage. So a lot of these are mom and pop type businesses, some with VC funded. But in terms of mentoring software, it's a new market and untapped, essentially. In terms of our core team, we have Gil and AL, the notorious Katz brothers. They're sitting here. I don't know why I just called them notorious, but anyway, they're sitting here. You can see them. Myself, AL is a full stack developer, and his brother Gil is he's actually a mentor. Does mentoring at UFT on the maths program. He's a maths and computer science major, and me as director of sales and marketing. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. That's where you laugh. Okay. We're also co-founders of a number of successful SaaS businesses, including Memorial Matters, Comic Reply, and some other businesses that we're involved with. And our advisors include the UFT Education, OIC, a number of C-level HR, CO, and VP type level individuals, and also the Yeti Accelerator. Our revenue model is based on a setup fee and a monthly subscription based on users. Our customers, again, we have 10 customers, 0 churn, touch wood so far. We've invested $30,000 and had $30,000 in sales so far, and our plan is to generate $300,000 in 2020. Our ask is for $150,000 as a convertible note to hopefully dominate Canada, with a $3 million valuation at $750K a year sales, 20% discount, 5% interest, and a $5 million cap. And if we could wave a magic wand, we'd exit to someone like Blackboard in 2025, who have a history of purchasing innovative businesses. Just to finish with our career timeline. Collaboration with Career Skills Incubator in 2006, 2017 independence, 2018 growth and features, and then 2019 we're expanding, including Microsoft for startups. And that's the end. Is that below 4 minutes?
That was perfect.
Oh.
That was good. You had 30 seconds left, so
Did I? Oh, okay. Can
That
tell a
was
quick
good.
joke?
you're good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll steal the mic. Thank you. No, good job. Give me a hand. That was good. Who wants?
So Simon, I thought it was a good presentation, very clear, very succinct. One of the things I'd suggest in terms of presentation, and to me it's very important that when you're talking, that you talk to the audience, not to the slide. So try to spend some more time understanding your slides and just see more of a natural flow. In terms of the business opportunity, it's hard for me to understand who the competitors are and what the market opportunity is. So I think if you could spend a little bit more time on that when you're presenting to make that a little bit more clear. And then the second part of it is, I would say if you're asking for money, you want to tell the person what's in it for them. So if you're saying you're asking for $750,000 or $250,000, what am I getting in return for that in terms of my projected return?
Thanks very much, Simon. I saw you added me to LinkedIn earlier as well, so good to see you in person. Great presentation. It's a good business, also a feel-good business, so that's nice to see. I think what I was struck with at first was exactly how your software is going to solve the problem for these folks compared to what else they're currently doing. So you covered a lot of areas, but the real core, why do they need your software? Why can they not live without it compared to how they usually connect people for the mentorship programs? So I think you need to hit on that. And then also, EdTech is notoriously difficult to sell to the institutions. I haven't invested in an EdTech business personally, but I've done a lot of due diligence on them. And it's a very, very tough sales cycle. So I think you might want to touch on, for people that are experienced with EdTech, how you're going to be getting in the door to these institutions and making the sale to them for the software platform, again, compared to other sales models that may or may not work for companies like Blackboard and so on. Sales will be a big, big aspect of it, and it's mostly hard push, outbound sales when it comes to this kind of thing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, who has got a few questions?
I'll just steal Mike's question. What's your go-to-market plan for EdTech? And actually, earlier you had mentioned that one of the problems you want to solve is the fact that mentoring outcomes are untracked. So is that in your solution, and how does that work?
Yeah, basically, at the end of the program, whether it's 3, 6, 9, or 12 months, both the mentor and the mentee, when they sign up, have to agree to actually write down and document 3, we call them actionable learning outcomes, LOs. It's just a thing that we made up. But what we found is that people will start up with a mentoring program, and it gets going and it fizzles out. So people have to be held accountable on both sides of the equation, and at the end of it, they actually have to write down what are 3 things that you can take away from the mentor that you've, and it doesn't have to be great long prose. It might be just, oh, I didn't realize that Nigeria might be a good place for me to go and do this or this technology or whatever it is, but they realize that at the end of it, they have to document at least 3 actionable learning outcomes that they can take back to their work or their day-to-day lives. Might just even be on a personal note. You know, it's like this person helped me to realize that X, Y, Z, or but people are held accountable at each stage of the relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
If I understood you correctly, you said you have partnerships in Australia and then you are really happy with them. My only concern is when you say that there is no direct competition in Canada, like it's limited for you and so there's advantage for you. Isn't it the same vice versa for companies out there in Australia who want to dominate in Canada for you? And then how do you deal with that threat, because it's still global and there are companies that come up here too?
Most of the competitors are south of the border, so there are a number of competitors in Australia, but 80% are based in the United States, and then there's a few around the world. But because there's no borders between the software itself, Australians tend to gravitate towards Canadians and vice versa. But really it's the United States where all the main competition is. And some of them are at different levels. There are a couple of larger players who do certain things well and certain other things not so well.
Sorry, so anything you did to mitigate those entry barriers? Like the entry barriers are pretty open. I feel they're pretty open. Did you do any kind of value proposition to distinguish yourself that way?
Our program is really it's designed to facilitate meaningful relationships that have tangible outcomes. So it's really simple techniques to hold somebody accountable. And what we found is that a lot of people are everybody's so time-strapped and everything's soundbite world and everybody's rushing around all the time that people actually just have to take the time to be accountable. So, for example, you might get a prompt 2 or 3 hours before your meeting with your mentee or your mentor saying, you have a call with this guy in 3 hours. Are you prepared? Do you have some questions? Would you like some questions? So it's all about facilitating the relationship, a bit like with Airbnb. It makes it idiot-proof for both sides. So it's actually ensures that relationship comes to fruition with the outcomes that are needed. So it's even to the point where, are you in the right coffee shop? You know, have you checked the address of the coffee shop where you're in, because there's another one down the road. So it's simple techniques. Yeah.
Hey, so I was just wondering how you plan to quantify the ROI for the universities that you plan to sell this to, because if the outcome of this is just to produce a tangible outcome in terms of what progress they made, how are you able to show that there was a return on investment on them paying you like $30,000 a year for the platform?
That's a really good question. The system has surveys built into it, so the mentors and the mentees at the end of it also say not only what have they learned or what are they going to do differently, but they actually say the value of the relationship. So in terms of the long-term ROI, I'm not too sure, but everything is based on feedback on that relationship and then how to tweak it so it can be better moving forward. But and then I guess it's anecdotal. Like if you sow some seeds of a conversation and somebody takes it down a road, it's all about helping people at the beginning of their careers, essentially.
So are you building KPIs into the experience so that you have key point indicators? Do you have these set up with the school so that at the end of the year when you go back for renewal, you can say, we've had 4,000 conversations at your school through the platform. We've enabled these 3 things to occur so that there is a really good case study for you to go to the next university and say, hey guys, we have really facilitated a lot of mentoring. We have so many conversations that are going on. We have 0 people that have missed or skipped meetings because there's so much value here. And here's some statistical data to show and support what we're doing.
Some of the features we're still working on building out, but essentially we want to have simple management reporting that can go back to the administrators of the programs and then also the people making the decision to fund it. But we've had a lot of repeat programs so that the universities are set up for semesters and programs and they've come back. But we're not totally there, if I'm honest, yet to get that type of information, but that's what we're after, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. That was good. Thank you.
Everybody.
So I guess in summary, there's a few things you're going to have to expand on. On the competitor side, what is creating them from not eating up your lunch if they've got more investment, and how you're going to actually, you can't use tech as being your way to win. How does the business model really support the growth of what you're doing? And then on the financial side, it's just breaking down the ask. So that's something to look into, is what are we giving away and how are we going to generate and build these sales and grow them to be a $2-3 million a year revenue business in the next 2 to 3 years. But thank you. Level.
Hi everyone, my name's Leroy. I'm a founder of Level. Level is Slack for the construction industry. Currently, there is a construction technology disconnect that's costing project managers 13 hours a week. The symptoms of this disconnect are poor access to project information, rigid software solutions, and low technology adoption. A solution to this problem is a communication platform that's been built to retrofit the outdated processes in these companies. This communication platform is built on three principles. 1, collaboration. 2, integration. 3, ease of use. At Level, we like to think of ourselves as the glue that brings the project stakeholders together and a platform through which those project stakeholders can communicate and their software applications can interact. Now, as a project manager, 70 to 90% of your time is spent dealing with communication. Now, if you're doing it on multiple platforms, that can cause headaches. So on a high level, what Level does is it actually filters all that communication onto one platform so that as a project manager, you have all that information accessible to you from one location, anytime, anywhere. Our traction to date, we've ran one pilot with 200 users. We like our users to tell us what to build, so we went back and they were using text messaging a lot, so we integrated SMS into our application. On a high level, what that means is imagine creating a Slack channel as a project manager, but having your other participants acting in that channel with text messaging. We're about to start our second pilot with our partner, which is called Freshco Retail Maintenance, not the grocery store. And we're really excited about the future. We see a great use case for health and safety in our application, and by 2021, we'd like to be making 1 million in ARR. In a competitive analysis, what does the landscape look like? Our closest competitor is FieldChat. FieldChat is more of an internal communication tool where we also include external in our vision. That's why photo management is so key to us. Now, why don't people use WhatsApp or Slack? Well, from a WhatsApp's perspective, it doesn't integrate with any other applications, so it just becomes a headache to use. Slack, it's great if you have a computer in front of you, but getting your trades to download and use your application is a serious headache. Now, you do have great construction tech companies like Bridget and Procore coming out, but the big headache with these guys is change management. You have to change your whole process, you have to get your employees trained, and it just costs too much time. These guys have so much money in their pockets, they don't even really need to worry about that stuff. From a markets perspective, TAM is about 5.4 billion. From a SOM perspective, we see we can get about 40 million of that. Go to market, as you can see, Freshco Retail Maintenance is up there. In November 2019, the WSIB is bringing out a new health and safety excellence program where people can get a rebate of up to 20% on their premiums. We see our app as a great use case for helping these companies get that rebate. We're also in discussion with a real estate developer on partnering and collaborating. That's not on our slide because that just recently happened. And going forward, we want to still build on partnerships, target those medium-sized companies, and start focusing on enterprises. The team, we have a great team. It's just 2 of us. I'm the business co-founder. I have a technical co-founder, Riley. Our partner, as I mentioned, is Freshco Retail Maintenance. They have 14 years of experience. They have about a 20 to 50 million ARR, as well as last year was one of Canada's fastest growing companies. Our advisors are great, very good, successful entrepreneurs with multiple exits and a panel of experts in the industry. Our ask, we're raising 300 million to reach 25,000 in MRR within 12 months. We haven't set a cap because we want the lead investor to actually do that for us. These sort of relationships are collaborative. We want to work with someone that sees that vision with us too, right? And then from an exits perspective, we see Procore or Build a Trend acquiring us in a few years. And that's it. Any questions?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Nice job. Oh, Arshad's up.
So good job, nice presentation. I think the construction industry is, like you said, very prime for the picking and very archaic. A lot of the guys there don't even know how to use technology. So there is that aspect of making sure you've got something that is very usable. I like the fact that you're doing with SMS because it seems universal for everybody. And without seeing kind of what happens or a flow of the transactions, hard for me to understand exactly what your software does. Right now, all I'm getting is it's an SMS-based multi-user chat system. So if that's not what you're selling, then maybe you need to update your slide or talk more to that. And then in terms of the money, you said you're looking for $300,000 and you want to get to $25,000 in a monthly recurring. Yeah. So the gap between the two is not big. And so what you want is you want to be able to say, you know, we're not going to be a $600,000 a year business. We're going to be a $5 million a year business. You want to figure out a way that you could demonstrate huge potential to growth. And also, I think in terms of who you're partnering with, you want to be able to partner with a construction company like an Aecon or someone else. I mean, I saw Build It by Design and some of those guys, so that's good to start with a smaller company, but I think you really want to get a big company to position you better to catapult the growth.
So Arshan really touched on an important point, and you actually threw it out as a carrot and a bait for me. So you're looking at, well, first of all, you asked for 300 million. It goes beyond my means, but I think you meant 300K. Yeah. And Leroy, you indicated that you were going to leave the topic of valuation aside. I would always recommend to entrepreneurs, you come in with a valuation. Guaranteed, it's going to be knocked down. So rather than having the other person come in with a number, it's guaranteed that it's going to be really on the low side. So come in at a value, and most importantly, come in with a justification as to why you came up with that value. And keep in mind that when you're at early stage, as you are right now, applying any multiplier method, it doesn't really matter which multiplier you use, the end result's going to be pretty low. So take a look at what are the comparables in the industry for a company at your particular stage with your traction. What was the valuation for them, or at least what were they successful in raising? So think of it along those lines, and then you then have a much more positive and strength position as you're presenting to the angel community. So.
Perfect, thank you. Who's got questions?
Same as the first person. What are you giving back to the community? What's your CSR strategy?
We'd love to be a part of health and safety. Getting these guys home and back in their offices at the end of the day is really what we want to do. We also want to help them take back time from their days so that they can spend more time with their families. These guys work crazy hours, and there still hasn't been an increase in productivity within this industry for about 80 years. In terms of charity events, we'd love to get involved with that, use our applications to share information. As I've mentioned, we focus on both upstream and downstream communication, so using our tool to actually provide upstream communication on how these community events are going and sponsoring those is definitely something we'd love to be a part of.
Perfect. Who else?
Questions?
On the construction side, how are you finding, for lead generation, how are you finding companies are accepting you when you come through the door? Are they open and interested, or are they scared and kind of shocked that a techie's coming in their front door?
That's a really great question. Finding early adopters in this industry is not easy. There is a change in demographic to kind of see what there is a change in demographic in the industry that people are using more technology. So the key is just kind of finding those medium-sized companies which are early on and taking on a lot of projects and approaching them. But most of the stuff as the industry goes is touching and feeling personal relationships. So just what I'm doing is going out to as many construction events. I'm actually going to the Ontario Home Builders Association conference this weekend to kind of like meet some people, meet and mingle, and yeah, I love construction, so there's that too. Yeah.
Is there an opportunity to partner with or work with at some capacity with a Rona or a Lowe's or a Home Depot, where if you make a purchase of certain tools, that there's a package that you guys can go in and do some consulting and try to engage them with your product from that extent? Just because a lot of them will still go to a Home Depot to buy their products, regardless if it's the most expensive on the market. So is this something you guys can look at as a way to get traction to what Arshad was saying, that you've got some big business that can kind of somewhat fold in over the next couple of years?
That's a good question too. Look, selling products through our solution isn't what we're looking at right now. Like, our vision for Level is effectively everything starts at a text message or a communication point. From there, you can go anywhere. So if I'm looking for products on my site, you could type a message to your project manager saying, you don't even need to type a message. You could take a photo of whatever it is that you want, send it to your project manager, because there's artificial intelligence in there. It tells you exactly what the product is. Your person on site doesn't even know what that is. It preloads the order form. The project manager looks at it, says it's okay, and I like to joke and say a drone's going to come and drop it off, but who knows?
But that's a possibility. So maybe the extent of that is that when it pops up to tell them that the order's ready, then you've got affiliations to go and pick that product up, and that's another revenue stream, and get it to them just in time or that day. Because there's a lot of construction products that are now out there that are doing electrical, they're doing hardware, and deliveries to the extent of getting them there within the next 3 hours.
Great. Yeah.
So
just to add to that, so we just want to be the platform on which that builds. We want other companies to come on and build, integrate with us. We understand that we don't necessarily have the resources to do everything, but much something like WeChat, where, other applications are integrated within that communication platform. That's kind of our vision for the future. So.
Oh, that's brilliant. Any last questions? Perfect. That's good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right,
everyone.
thank you. So I guess to quick summarize, I think there's a few things that you've got to look at, which is going to be market penetration. It seems like there's going to be a lot of unknowns with these companies, and it's finding the right tech person that really can get behind your initiative to bring this in. That's going to be key to get your increase that MRR and ARR. And then I guess on the pitch side, as Angelo alluded to, it's really figuring out how do you find that evaluation and come up with something and let everybody else beat you up on the other side versus them agreeing to it. Because right now I would, 300,000 for evaluation of 450, done. So, and that's what you don't want. But thank you, that was good. All right, Bud Tender, you are up. All right, so that's the clicker. Yep.
Hello, everybody. You're going to see a pretty different presentation right now than the rest of the ones today. But my name's Jay Crow. I'm the founder and CEO of Bud Tender. We're the cannabis customer experience leader, which means we help retailers easily retain their customers. Would you be surprised if I told you that 82% of customers never return after having a poor experience? Well, this is the case. And it's even more staggering of a statistic when you realize that it's 25 times more costly to retain an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one. Whoops. Too far? Jeffrey, sorry, I must say something. There we go. And so the problem that we realize is happening in the cannabis market is that retailers have no way to understand a customer's experience when they come through the doors. They don't know the customer's purchasing experience. So how is their experience buying in-store or buying online? How is their product use experience? So how do they actually like the products? Lastly, how is their overall experience? How likely are they to return, or how likely are they to recommend friends to bring you more foot traffic? And so the market that we're attacking this for is first the Canadian recreational cannabis market, which is valued at $4 billion annually, of which we have about a $20 million addressable market today. But most importantly, we're attacking the US market, which is valued at $9.2 billion and has a total addressable market of $100 million. And so our solution is a tailored customer experience software which allows retailers to easily gather insights back from customers after a purchase and whether that be on brands, products, experience, or satisfaction, because ultimately, 72% of customers who did have a bad experience would shop again if the problem was resolved efficiently. And so our platform, and I apologize for the text here, I usually don't have it. So what our platform does is we integrate directly with the retailer's point of sale or CRM, allowing them to automatically send surveys to customers within 24 hours of making their purchase. The value for the retailer is that they're able to easily track, analyze, and measure, and act upon customer experiences in real time, meaning that if a customer has a poor experience, you can get to them before they defect and go to another competitor, or before they talk about you negatively online. Our business model consists of a SaaS pricing, which is really dependent on the size of the retailer group we work with. So for a single store, we charge $400 US per month. Enterprise, which is 10 plus stores, it's about $100 per store per month. We additionally have a customer experience reporting, which we do. So we'll do customer experience reports based on the information provided, of which we charge about $100 per month for a single store and $50 per store per month for an enterprise location. So we've grown incredibly quickly over this year. So we left beta testing around the end of Q1 of 2019, and we've scaled to about 100 locations so far, so it's about 3,500% growth so far this year. We're working with some of the biggest retailers across Canada and the United States, including Canopy Growth and their Tweed and Tokyo Smoke stores, and Green Thumb Industries, which has a $2 billion market cap. Our team, my name's Jake Crow. I'm the founder and CEO. I studied economics at the University of Arizona, where I also played collegiate hockey. I have 6 years of marketing customer service experience with companies like Coca-Cola and the Honda Indy of Toronto. My co-founder, Darcy, is actually a very good friend of mine from high school. I've known him for 15 years. We've worked in kitchens together, on moving crews. We've done a lot of stuff. He has a Bachelor of Business degree from Ryerson University, and he leads our sales. He has over 9 years of B2B sales experience, especially in the SaaS market. Lastly, our CTO, Ryan Friedrich, has a Bachelor of Computer Science degree from the University of California at Santa Cruz, and he brings over 15 years of software development experience, including being part of a AI platform called Bookette, which sold to McGraw-Hill Education. So projections, so this year, over the next 9 months, we're planning to do about $480,000 in revenue. So currently, we're working with about 100 retailers. We plan for that to double pretty quickly within the next 9 months. That's going to scale to about $3.5 million in 2021 with 1,500 retailers, and eventually $10 million in 2022 with 3,000 retailers. So our competitors, we truly don't have really any direct competitors today. Most of our competitors are indirect, so the difference between our platforms and theirs is these are more Yelp-style platforms where you have to go in, log in, and provide the information, whereas we integrate directly with the retailer's point of sale and CRM and allow you to send that information right to their phone, which has about a 94% open rate within the first minute. So we get much higher volumes. On average, our customers process 31 times more information than Google, Weedmaps, and Leafly combined. So our ask, we're looking for $650,000 at a 5 million Canadian cap for a 20% discount and 8% interest. We've previously taken in about 95,000 US before, partially on a stock purchase agreement, which was done with our accelerator program. And then secondly, we did a subsequent financing after that for about 75K on a convertible note at a 2 million US cap. The use of funds is really to put fuel on the fire. So for the most part, it's for human resources. It's to get more sales staff in our operation to continue to grow our sales force. Also, 20% will be for operating costs, so your day-to-day expenses with our Google platforms, our text messaging platforms, all that good stuff. And the last 35% is for development. So this is for hiring our back-end developer full-time, hiring our front-end dev full-time, and then also for further API integrations to drive more leads for us internally. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Again, my name's Jake Crow. I'm the founder and CEO. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you. Who wants to jump in?
Are you in Toronto now, Jake, or in the US? Okay, great. Yeah, definitely heard of this company before, and great to see the presentation. Know a little bit about the space. Actually, I would like to hear a little bit more after as well. The main thing when I look at this, it's a software business, and I would want to understand, why do these cannabis retailers have different needs than other types of retailers or other companies with point of sale systems, right? So I think that's what you really want to zero in on here, so that regular large companies like Lightspeed, for example, and all these other guys, can't they just do this, right? So what really is different, where cannabis needs something very specific that only you guys can offer? And the traction is great, and the fact you sign up all these retailers very quickly is also great. So that's what I'd love to hear more about later.
Yeah, I'm actually quite high right now. No. So Jake, I actually like what you're presenting, and I've seen you before, so good stuff. I like the traction that you have, and you have carved out a particular segment of the marketplace, the cannabis sector. But I feel that what you are embarking on is something that could be applied to all segments. And right now, one of the greatest challenges that exists out there is the fact that bricks and mortar retail businesses are starting to shrink and die. And one of the largest reasons is that they don't provide the same experience and comfort that an online experience has. So if you can tailor your solution to that sort of mindset, which I think is what you're talking about, then I think you actually have a significant opportunity here that goes way beyond the cannabis, although it's a good start.
Thank you very
right?
much. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Questions?
I have two questions, in fact. One, from a consumer point of view. Let's look at a normal scenario. What's the incentive the customer getting by giving that SMS response?
So in the United States, for example, it's very commonplace for retailers to discount. So, for example, we work with many stores in Maryland, Colorado, California, the established cannabis markets, and they'll say, here's 10% off your next order if you complete this survey. And it's a very easy way for them to drive more data and information, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the value prop here for the retailers is the data and information that they're getting back from those users.
Right, and thank you. And then what about a usual badass customer? Because I don't know, I've never tried it, but if someone did it 24 hours ago, would they even remember how it tasted or what it was?
So the point isn't so much about the product side is only one portion of it. So that's only really one of the key performance metrics the stores track. So yes, the question is that yes, it is still top of mind. They're not like so stoned or out of their minds that they don't know like by the next day what happened. But the point is that your experience is still completely relevant and top of mind. You still remember your interaction with the store staff. You still remember your interaction with the products, and you still know how likely you are to come back and shop again, which is the key metric that all the retailers want to be able to track.
Questions? It's almost innate in people that people complain, so they're going to do it high or not. So,
do you have any IP?
So currently we don't have any intellectual property. What we are working on is figuring out a way to do that for our back end, because even in the customer feedback space, traditional markets and non-traditional, we have one of the only platforms where we're able to actually automatically send the messages, send the surveys, and collect that information all very seamlessly in one place. So we are looking into that with our legal team. It's not really to be completely honest and forthcoming, it's not a pressing thing that we're doing today. Our biggest concern is winning the market and getting there first.
And what's your burn?
Our burn is really cheap right now. We're only burning about $2,000 US a month. So 1,500 goes to developer salaries, which are all overseas. Then the last 500 is really for our operating expenses. So that's for sending text messages, our Google, our Amazon, all that good stuff.
When people buy marijuana in, let's say, the stores in the United States, how loyal are they to that shop? I guess the loyalty factor must be. So this information is key. I should imagine people go, they like their budget, the specific shop.
If you could imagine, Colorado, I believe, is a population of 3.5 million people, and I think they have over 1,500 dispensaries. So you can imagine the customer loyalty is incredibly high. And so customers defecting is one of the biggest problems that these retailers face, and that's the niche that we're trying to solve right now, is allowing them a simple platform to allow them to understand what the customer's experience was actually like, then be able to measure against that. So if I'm an enterprise retailer, the value is I now have metrics in place that are not only analytical data that I'm getting from my point of sale, but I can actually measure against all of my stores from the customer's point of view and see how they're performing.
Have you found that any of your current clients that you're working with have, when you're sitting down with them after the last few months, have they started to open up Pandora's box and share a little bit more about the problems that they're having? And are you seeing that there might be some other opportunities for Bud Tender to help out that retailer?
Yeah, so that's one of the biggest things that we're focused on right now, because we're working with enterprise retailers opposed to single stores, is that we work really, really closely on building relationships with those retailers. So one of the really easy adjacent paths for us to get into, which we see retail as the Trojan horse. Retail is the most important piece, but allows you to get to a lot of other important aspects. And so the next step that we really want to get to, which is one that our customers have been asking us for, is employee experience. So asking their employees how they feel, because ultimately that gives you a closed loop circuit on the customer experience, because ultimately, who are your customer experiences driven from? The employees that you put in front of those customers.
So that could open up to a bigger product that you could look at, and there's some out there now, but it's also on the education front. So how do you educate all of your stores with a product around all the different types of bud, seed, and things like that, so that actually helps them ramp up, so that when they're doing that training course, it's a refresher. So here's the new BC bud that just come out. Now you can get feedback from them right away through the application, the usage of it, which is gonna help your client grow their base. Sorry. Does that work? Yeah. Perfect. All right, well, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. So I guess to summarize, I think there's obviously a large opportunity for what you guys are working on, and some things you just want to keep in mind is how do you get in front of all of these retailers at a lot faster pace and have them come to you, and the solution that you're solving for them has to be something that they're banging their heads against the wall. And I think you've got some great case studies of things that have occurred. How do you open those up to give more value back for those companies coming at you? Thank you. Alias, you're up. Am I saying that wrong?
Hi everybody, my name is Ben, and I'm creating a political social network which enables people to impact government policy in a more impactful way, more meaningful way. Think something like LinkedIn for politics. There you go. Oh, whoops. Sorry, smaller room. Think LinkedIn for politics and a more ethical Cambridge Analytica. If you wanted to have if you wanted to have a conversation about politics today, where would you go? You would go to Facebook, you would go to Twitter, and there's a problem with that in that they're not optimized for politics. They're optimized for cat videos, family pictures, and social networking. And the problems that come with that is that we know that politicians, sadly, they don't really operate according to ethics. They operate according to votes, and they'll generally go where the votes are. And if you want them to engage in a conversation with you, you need to give them the idea that that you're a potential voter. So let's say you're talking about, some abortion law in Alabama that was, really got people going, really hot topic, and, someone posts about it on Facebook. Now, you don't know where that person's from. You don't know who's commenting on it. You don't know that they're even stakeholders in that issue. And for that reason, it's problematic for the politician to engage with those people, because not only do they not know whether it's a waste of time, they don't know whether or not those people are going to be voting for them. So another problem exists where, let's say somebody supported Donald Trump and he was worried that his friends wouldn't like him if he said that on Facebook. So he's not actually going to say anything about what his political views are on Facebook or Twitter because he's afraid of social repercussions. So we've solved those problems. We've created a location-based network which allows you to operate in either anonymous mode or public mode. It allows the stakeholders in the issues based on constituency mapping to be the ones who see their politicians in the news feed. So we've populated over 46,000 profiles of politicians. We've created it also as a centralized place on the politician profile, so the posts don't disappear after 2 days. So if you're talking about a bill that runs for a few months or even a year, there's always a place to go back and discuss it. And it's also offering campaign management solutions to politicians. So we've created something that looks like a website for a politician, but it's all modular, so all of those politicians can come on, claim their profile, build their own website, and it's, you know, a social network around it, not just a website. So there's circular communication. This is basically going to allow the politicians to post polls and petitions which offer data underneath them. So what it is it's going to give the politician 100% organic reach in his constituency, and that's going to allow him to have deeper penetration and reach within his voter base. And it's also going to offer, through our sign-in, all the demographic data anonymously to the public and the politician, which includes race, age, gender, ethnicity, and various other demographics. So this is what it looks like. We're eventually going to be offering different profiles for lobbyists, organizations, as well as pundits. Those different groups are going to be able to have conversations within each other. So if two politicians wanted to talk to each other, they'd be able to reach out on the platform. They could have it as like a read-only where the public would be privy to what was being discussed, but that conversation would just be between the two of them. We're currently partnered with Civic, which allows a sign-in for through blockchain, allows you to have biometric and Face ID, so you don't actually have to put in your information. You just sign in with a QR code. And Echo Ridge, which offers something like Uber for lobbyists. They're helping us with our beta launch next month in New Hampshire. This is the team. I have various experience in different conflicts in the military, as well as my master's in conflict studies. And the rest of the team, some people have been more involved at different stages, but some people are more involved now. I'd be happy to talk more about that if I had more time. Competitors, indirect and direct, are basically, I'm judging them based on social impact and awareness. People generally get petitions, they throw them out the window. Politicians, sorry. And that's because they don't know where the petitions are coming from. They don't know where, you know, who's signing it. They don't know, you know, how many people didn't mobilize for whatever issue it was that's on the petition. So we're also solving those problems, and we're also, you know, going to try to dip into the kind of YouGov and SurveyMonkey, which basically do more standard traditional polling, as well as the traditional social networks and petition websites. Our revenue model is basically going to involve political donations. So we're going to siphon donations to political campaigns and take a small percentage of that. Big data, we're going to sell anonymized data in an ethical manner. Think like a heat map for the politicians to be able to map their constituency and basically see, you know, okay, I don't have to spend as much time here. I have to spend as much more time in this community for these specific reasons, and we're going to map it on a state level, which currently doesn't exist in the United States. And that's going to move us to a SaaS company model where we would be selling that monthly for the different levels of government. Donations, as you can see, people who vote are the people who donate the most money. So by creating a voting network, we'd be bringing the people who are most likely to give money to the said campaigns, and, you know, we'd be able to increase the likelihood of a donation. The opportunity analysis, I had a few MPs involved here who told me they would use the tool. Unfortunately, Canada, people don't care as much about politics as the United States, so I made the decision a few months ago to leave Canada and operate solely and build the software for the United States. 511,000 elected offices in the United States, from everything from dog catcher to president, and that's a huge government and a huge opportunity. Let alone, you know, Europe, which eventually I want to create country-to-country communications, which would allow, you know, people to discuss things like NAFTA or, you know, Brexit, stuff like that. Again, huge governments in those places.
And your ask is?
Right there. How much time do I have left?
You're over by a minute and a half, so I can't really cut you any more slack. So you got 10 seconds.
250 to 500K, depending on who's investing, if it's strategic or if it's just plain money. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks for the extra time.
No problem, man. No problem. Who's up? Who's up?
Thanks, Ben. It was very good presentation. I think it's a very interesting concept, something that doesn't come up in conversation much. But I think you're onto something pretty interesting there. What I didn't see was what your revenue projections are, so how much money you're going to be making. And then again, I think that's important to talk about, like, you know, when you're getting the donation, and how does that affect you in terms of being caught up in the whole influence of, you know, trying to funnel money to different political parties. I agree that the American side of it is much more lucrative and a lot more opportunity there. So I think you're onto something good, and hopefully we can talk later.
I'm fine. Pardon me? Well, Ben, good seeing you. It's disappointing that you're leaving us and going south of the border. Although ultimately that's what I like to see anyway. So you've just jumped a step, right? I really do think it's a hot area, and managing how voters' true sentiment are on a particular topic is really critical and important. And right now it's actually getting very confusing, and I think the feedback that we as potential voters are getting in this coming election is, at least from my perspective, all over the map, and I'm not sure how they're basing their actual numbers. And is it actually a situation of false interpretation just based on the particular types of people that consistently actually provide input and provide feedback? What would be a better indicator is gauging sentiment that exists within a large group as opposed to stacking the numbers. So I think you're working on something that's actually really valuable. I'd like to see better clarity on the money side of things, and also the delineation of yourself and the actual target end user, the politicians, on how you can scale and grow as an investor so that I could see a return on my investment.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
So I have a question, since you mentioned Cambridge Analytica. Is there advertisements on the platform? And what about fake news? How are you countering that?
Sorry, is there what on the platform?
Advertisements on the platform. Are there any advertisements on the platform? And how are you countering fake news? The concept of fake news.
Definitely. So that's a great question, because fake news and advertisements are both things that I don't like. Advertisements are my last resort and part of my revenue model when I do present to investors, but it's a last resort. So I believe I can come up with a more creative way, and that's a SaaS company, without having to allow influence. If I did have to allow ads, then it would be non-political ads, so for like toothpaste or whatever. In terms of what I'm doing about fake news is that I'm built into each news post a fake news button. When you press it, you have to prompt a link or proof to why you think it's fake news. I'm going to reward people on the platform through gamification. The whole thing is gamified, so through gamification, I'm going to reward them for putting up links that are actually proving that this was fake. And that would not only inform the public of what the alternative source for information was, it would also allow me to take those data sets and sell them to companies like Facebook or Twitter, who are receiving the same links and don't have a system to identify that, or want a new system to add to their data set. Okay.
How are you going to promote legitimate analytics, given the bad reputation and how politicians are very sensitive to rumors and any kind of bad influence on voters?
Mm-hmm. So it's a broad question. If I wanted to make sure that the analytics are correct, that they're accurate, what I'm trying to do is first verify that it's a real person. So I'm using OAuth to make sure that any of my sign-ins through Facebook or other social medias are from accounts that are real. And the second way is that when I reach scale and I'm not really concerned about onboarding too many users at once, what I'm going to do is force verification. Same way Airbnb does it with a piece of ID, or whatever other ways there are. And Civic is a first step in doing that. So putting in your biometrics or your face scan. I don't need that data. I don't want that data. But if I can go to Civic and say Civic has it and it's real, then I can prove that the person and user is real. Oh, I'm not into selling any personalized data. I don't use or sell any personalized data. I believe that data rights are human rights, and I'm very against the cost of use for software being your privacy. I only sell larger anonymized data, aggregate data, and that would be also public for the community to actually learn from. So you could know how many people in your community are feeling X instead of just some big company knowing it, which means you'd have more critical analysis and you'd be able to make better decisions, more informed decisions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, man. So just a quick summary. I think one thing that you, I think will come up quite a bit is how do you prevent someone from going into the system and spamming and being foul and belligerent to the politician, which will then maybe prevent them from wanting to stay on the platform because it's not policy, it's not making them feel comfortable, because you will have rogues anywhere in the world that will come in and just start to cause problems. And obviously you're trying to make it an open-ended, and like anybody, if you're anonymous or you're stealing IDs, then things can occur. And then from a business side, I think something to keep in mind is as you grow this business, you're going to have to find ways to generate revenue that is going to be an easy way in for your business to grow, so that people aren't going to think you're selling data because you're not taking money from advertising or somewhere that's a bigger platform. But thank you. Thank you. Satellite Farms.
Cool, thanks. Hi everyone, my name is Farouk Al-Gamri and I'm the founder and CEO of Satellite Farms. And there's a big problem with the way that we grow and source our food today. It's grown thousands of miles away, transported days, maybe even weeks, up until it reaches your plate, and all while it's losing nutritional value, freshness, and flavor. And as you can imagine, this brings in a lot of problems with, for both consumers and businesses alike, specifically inconsistency in supply, quality, and prices for these healthy foods. And in order to fix these problems, we need to rethink how we grow our food so that we can grow more food using less resources in an economic and sustainable way. And that's what we do at Satellite Farms. We build and operate indoor vertical farms in urban areas that produce leafy greens year-round, regardless of seasonality. And the way that it works is we built a custom aeroponic farming system that enables us to grow dozens of varieties of leafy greens completely autonomously from seed to harvest, using no soil, no sunlight, and 99% less water than traditional farming methods. And the way it works is we suspend and germinate our seeds on a reusable cloth growing medium and mist a carefully crafted nutrient solution directly onto the roots of the plants so that they can get exactly what they need when they need it. Our plants are grown under energy efficient LEDs and using our plant recipes that have been developed and commercially tested for over 5 years at our sister company, Nabat Farms in Egypt. And based on our tests, we can grow 50% more product in 30% less time than hydroponic farming. And hydroponic farming is light years ahead from soil farming that we're all aware of. Our growing trays are constantly monitored and independently controlled by our central system, using sensor and image data so that we can make sure that the plants are always healthy and happy. We've also developed ML models to identify pests and diseases on the farm, to predict the quality, health, and yield of our products, and to optimize our plant recipes. And the business model is simple. We set up our farming system within a leased warehouse space, grow, harvest, package, and then deliver our products directly to restaurants and retailers locally. And as you can see, this is a completely vertically integrated supply chain. We assemble our own equipment, we grow our own product, we package, process it, and then distribute it and conduct our own business development as well. And this enables us to achieve margins that are far superior than what we had before and offer our customers a superior product in return as well, at the same exact price, actually. We have other, based on the same infrastructure and technology, we are also identifying other sales and distribution channels, but we're going to be testing those over the next few months in our facility. So we're currently targeting restaurants, retailers, food service operators, and end consumers through those channels. We're focusing on mid to high-end restaurants with a high leafy green portfolio, and we're selling our own branded products directly to customers through retailers. Right now, we're only focused on baby greens, because it's the most highly demanded product, and later on, we will expand our product offerings to include other mature greens and other vegetable products. And all of this guarantees customers with a consistent supply of leafy greens year-round, regardless of seasonality, that are locally grown, completely organic, and are the tastiest greens you're ever going to taste, right? So, local competitors. How much time do I have? No, anyways. So right now we're working on the Barrie project, and we've partnered with the building owner to take on a 4,000 square foot facility, commercial space in dead center downtown Barrie, where we will be setting up our first facility. And right now we're acclimatizing our farm, we're designing it, and we're acquiring restaurant LOIs, as well as launching a direct consumer marketing campaign where you can sign up to pick up a weekly basket of goods from our farm. Our team is made up of MBAs, engineers, and farmers who are dedicated to bringing the future of farming here in Toronto, as well as a team of advisors, including Richard Blundell, Managing Director of Cleantech, and Brendan Calder from Rotman School of Management. And we've done this before. We've built and successfully is currently running a hydroponic farm in Egypt over 5 years ago that currently services over 60% of the niche Egyptian leafy greens and herbs market. And what we're doing here is bringing this model, the successful business model, with better technologies and tailored to the local market. And we're asking for $500K for around 15% of our company to help us accelerate our timeline with the Barrie project. Barrie project's still happening, but we're looking for investors to come on board to help us build a full-scale facility from the start. Thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you. Who would like to jump in? Arshad?
So very good presentation. I think the idea is very interesting. We're actually talking about vertical farming earlier. A little confused because you talk about a list of restaurants and restaurant groups, but you're not in business right now, so these are potential.
Right now we're not operational
right.
in Ontario, but we have spoken with these customers. Oh, sorry. I'm not.
So the thing that was also confusing was that you're opening up in Barrie. Yes. You want to be able to open up where you're local to all the restaurants, yes. But the restaurants you had listed were all in Toronto.
Right.
So I would say that you have to have like a more consistent approach in terms of being local to where they actually are. The other part of it is, think about whether there's enough volume just in the leafy greens in order to sustain your business model. A lot of these restaurants, the leafy greens is just one component, and obviously they need other things as well that they're going to want to put in part of their food. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks very much for that. Definitely a hot sector right now. Seen a couple like this. I think if you're not familiar, you might be already, but Bright Spark Ventures just did a raise right now for a company in this sector. Also pretty much pre-revenue as well. So I think that didn't scare people off because this is a huge opportunity. And I think the biggest challenge, I personally did not invest in that one. I have with them before, but not in that one. The biggest challenge is, can you do it at scale? So I liked this video you showed at the end where you did it perhaps in Egypt in the past. So I would maybe focus on that and prove how big it was, how you did it, and that's what the investors want to see. Because right now it's just a crapshoot. But if you can show that we did it, here's the numbers, really focus in on that, I think that's going to help you big time. And then you can go to whoever invested in that other company and say, hey, we're going to be the winners. So good luck with it. It's appealing. It's just there's a lot of unknowns still in this space. So it's quite crowded.
Perfect. Thank you. Questions? So on the vertical farming side with the competitors and getting your product to market, if you take what you did in your previous business, what were the learnings that you're changing to make this more successful?
So in Egypt, we started off by directly destroying our competitors, but we later learned that it was better off for us to actually work together and create a fair game and compete only on quality. So that's what we started by doing here and speaking with all of our competitors as well to create this community and help each other to build this market locally. Right now, it's still a huge market for us because we're importing so much of our food from the States, and we can do this stuff here, and we can do it at scale.
So did you have to enhance or change any of your tech that you originally created?
100%. Well, we had to tailor the technology for this market, right? In Egypt, you have sun all year round. You don't have any sun here, right, most of the year. So it's better for you to grow inside of a warehouse space here rather than a greenhouse. And in Egypt, we don't need to go inside of a warehouse. It just makes more sense to use the sun's energy.
For your revenue model, on your past business, what was the time to close? And now where do you think you can cut that back to so that it's more efficient and faster for you?
Time to close, sorry?
To close a client. So if your process to start a client was 6 months in Egypt, can you do it in 2 months in Toronto?
Anyone who visits our farm closes with us right away in Egypt. That has been our experience, and that's most likely going to be our experience here. We've sampled our products with current restaurants here, retailers, and we've gotten positive feedback.
So from a growing standpoint, what is your yields? Are you able to increase your yields here versus Egypt?
Here we grow 1.93 kilograms per meter squared. In Egypt, we grow 1.25 kilograms per meter squared. And we do it here in 11 days. In Egypt, it takes us 3 weeks.
Makes me think that you should shut down everything that's going on in Egypt and start building here and sending it back to Egypt.
That's why
I don't know if it's the Canadian, if it's the Canadian light bulb, but sounds like it's really doing some wonders. Yeah, honestly, you could container load it back on day 3, get it to Egypt by day 6, and make the containers all light enabled, and have them grow while they're in shipment.
The whole model is to grow locally and serve the market.
Come on, man, you're already got a business that's running, and you're cutting yourself back. Anyhow, okay, one last question is, on the branding side, if there is a heavy competitor model, where do you see yourself fitting in? Are you a premium product? Are you going to come in as the low carrier? What's going to make you guys stand out amongst everybody else?
On the retail side, we are not selling our product more expensive than even mass market products. We're not trying to compare ourselves to organic goods. Organic goods are too expensive for the average consumer. But we do have a model that we're going to be testing soon to appeal for the more high-end consumer with well, it's still early, but what we want to do is to have a salad bar where we harvest the products right in front of you. And that's going to be a great opportunity for us in Barrie because we have a retail space over there as well, part of the 4,000 square feet.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great. Well, thank you very much for that. So I guess to summarize that, you're going to be taking your Canadian operations and using them to fulfill your Egypt operations, it sounds like. But I think from presentation-wise, I think it's just going into a little bit more detail on the wins that you had in Egypt and what that has caused you to change here. Because I think you have 5 years of learning and sales experience, which most companies don't have. And being in the same vertical, you haven't changed anything, leafy greens, that's going to carry a lot of weight in talking about you were able to increase yield, decrease cost, decrease timing. Those things are huge, and they're going to help out. One other thing you could look at doing, since maybe there's something on adding in vitamins, adding in something that allows for your product to stand out to be a little bit different. Maybe your product is grown using, I don't know, could do it marijuana, I guess, but you could do CBD. And maybe that's an addition that you add in for that healthy organic style setup, which again, someone's not really doing, but it might be something that changes your product because it's going to help people, and it's now allowed in the United States and in Canada without any issues at border. Anyway, something to think about. But thank you very much. That was great. All right, so next up, Yes, next up is Jelly Social. You guys are gonna, yeah? All right, yeah, come on up, guys, come on up. Oh, that's right. This is the one, and
All right, thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. Thanks for coming out tonight. And just first off, just a round of applause for all of our presenters. Great job, everybody. Really well done, really well done. So my name is Sanjeet, and I am one of the co-founders of Jelly Social, along with Amanda over there in the corner. How's it going, Amanda? So Jelly Social, before I get into really what we're all about, I'd just like to take a minute here for us to acknowledge just how talented the people are in this room right now. I mean, we have investors with just an entire wealth of knowledge in the industries. We have social innovators. We have AI experts. We have IoT experts, fintech, food tech. You know, all kinds of talented people from all kinds of different industries are in this room right now. So let's just acknowledge that right now. Just imagine what you could achieve by collaborating together with all of these talented peers. So this is exactly why Jelly Social exists. This is our sole purpose for existing. We are here to get to know everybody in this room and actually facilitate connections between you and other talented people in this room. So we are going to help pave the way for new innovative collaborations between you and the talented people in this room. And by we, I'm talking about myself, Amanda, and our team of volunteers. So I like to make sure our volunteers are very visible right now. So we have Johnny over here. Johnny, just raise your hand. We have William over here. We have Kurt over here in the corner, and we have Amanda over here as well. Now, you've probably already seen us in the open networking portion at the beginning of the event. We're just coming up to you and just asking you a little bit about the work that you do, kind of the help that you're looking for, the type of people you want to connect with. So you've probably seen some of our Jelly Social volunteers in action. We're going to continue that later on. But what we're going to do right now is we'd like to bring a few people up to the front of the room just to get the whole collaboration process kick-started. So we'd like to bring some people up here just so you can broadcast your message. Let people know what it is that you're working on and the type of support that you're looking for. So as always, what we generally do at Jelly Social is we get Amanda to kick things off just so she can give us a template for how this whole process works. So why don't you come up here, Amanda, and show us how this is done. So Amanda, I'm going to give you 60 seconds, okay? In your 60 seconds, you have to make sure that you touch on these 3 points, okay? So first thing, you're going to talk about your passion and purpose. Okay, we want to know, what type of work you're doing. We want to know why you're doing it, what compelled you to get into that line of business or line of work. We want to know what your whole story is. We also want to know what career help you can offer. Okay, so notice that the question is, what career help can you offer? Not what products can you offer, what services can you offer. That's something different. We're not pitching today. We're not selling at our peers. We're not looking for referrals. What we're doing here is trying to find a way that we can offer some help, some career help. And lastly, you're going to tell us the specific career help that you need. So to help frame that question, maybe think about the next 30 to 60 days. What is it that you really want to achieve, and what help do you need to achieve it, and you're going to put that out there. So this is totally doable within 60 seconds. And how about you show us how it's done?
All right. Thank you so much, Sanjeet, and thank you everybody here. Fantastic presentation, so I'll kick it off. Those that don't know me, my name is Amanda Russell. My passion, I'm co-founder, back up a bit. Co-founder of Jelly. I'm also a founder of an event management company called Evento. My passion is simply bringing people together on social or business platforms. My purpose, I feel, is to help connect people offline, to help inspire, educate, and create more collaborations within our community. It's all about building community, I find, in our society. What career help can I offer? I'm all about helping you build events, whatever you need to showcase, promote, create workshops, education, do let me know. Social media, marketing, what career help do I need? because I have 100 things always on the go. Time management is always fantastic, and automating my life is another goal of mine. So any tips or tricks on those ends, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
job. Okay, so stay here for a second. So your specific ask for help, the thing you need help with, is tools to help you automate.
Correct.
Right? So you have so many things on the go, and you're trying to find ways that you can automate your personal life, professional life, that type of thing?
But yeah, touch and go. I assume, yeah.
Okay.
Autopilot is my goal.
So would you be interested in like online tools or something like that?
Yeah.
With
Any apps, tricks, techniques that you're using in your day-to-day life would be fantastic.
So does anyone know of any useful tools that Amanda might be able to use? If you know of any, just raise your hand. Something that can help Amanda automate. Keep your hand raised if you know something.
I won't bite you, I swear.
Okay, so yeah, keep your hand raised. We have someone back there as well. So Amanda's going to come by and she's going to grab your business cards. Okay. So Amanda, when we are doing our open networking later on, you make sure that you connect with these people because these are collaboration opportunities just waiting to happen. Okay.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'll be there to connect.
Okay, so I'll let you go and grab the business cards right now.
All
right. Good job, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll bring some other people up. Now, Laura, do we have any specific people, any pre-selected people to do you want to maybe select some people at random? It's totally up to you.
Any volunteers? Volunteers. Yeah.
Okay. What is
All
your
right.
passion and your purpose? All right, so my passion and my purpose, I think you guys all probably have seen it before. I have a passion for helping startups grow and build their companies. My purpose is I like to see other people succeed, and if we have a way that we can invest in that succession, that's awesome. And we do that not just through dollars or software, but we do it by mentoring and advising and helping those startups succeed. So that is my passion and my purpose. What career help can you offer? Well, I spend a lot of time helping companies build and grow their companies, so I think I offer hopefully a lot of opportunities there to work and help, and I'll continue to do that because I enjoy it. What career help do you need? It's a really good question. I'm sure I need a lot of help everywhere. So I'm very scatterbrained. I do a lot of things in a matter of seconds, minutes, and days, weekends. And if somebody would like to organize all of that into something that's easier to manage, I'd be happy to engage with you on that one. But this is a very tough question for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Good job. Good job. So just so I got that right, the thing you need help with is getting some of your initiatives organized, helping you put a plan forward to, I guess, is it something that's short term or something longer term? Or like what type of, like what's your time span for organization? What's an example, I guess? Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm digging a hole here. I don't even know where to start. So, yeah, PR is way easier.
Okay.
We need PR. How's that? We really could use that.
Okay, PR.
That's an easier one to tackle.
Let's go with that one. Let's go with that one.
Yeah.
So
we don't want
PR
to dig in the holes of my problems.
Okay,
It's
okay.
crazy. It's crazy. We'll be here all week.
So PR in terms of for what specifically? Like
I think what we're doing on OPN, how we get
OPN,
out there and help, and I think we're turning the corner. We've been trying, and I think you guys are going to be a big help on that now, so it's good.
So you want to help get the word out about these awesome events that you're hosting.
Yes.
How you getting the word out there right now? Social media? Is that what you're using?
Yeah, social media, all the tactics we talked about earlier, through emails, social media, engagements, because we work with a lot. We see a lot of companies, like 100 to 150 a month.
Yeah.
So hopefully a lot of them are talking about us. But yeah, all that stuff.
Do you have a presence, Instagram perhaps, or anything like that?
You won't believe this, but tonight I actually was Instagramming.
You were? You were, nice. Okay.
Which I never do, so I'm like, I'm doing this tonight.
Okay, so here's a good thing that we can probably help out with. So let's follow OPN on Instagram. Let's do our part, at least there, to kind of share our content.
I'm watching you guys.
Let's follow Instagram. Who can help out with that? Let's just raise your hand. Who can follow OPN? We can all do that, right?
You guys
we can
are
all
the
do that.
best. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else, maybe a little bit more specific, just in terms of a collaboration or something like that? Maybe just something that's on your radar with OPN?
I think actually if you guys want to track down Laura, she could probably help with all of those things on what we need. But I think for me, I'm just glad you guys all came out, and I'm super ecstatic that you guys are coming and going to be at our next event too, because I think this is a very crucial piece to meeting people. I know I'm the worst at it, And I think what you guys are doing by engaging a community and getting people to talk really opens up and takes down the barriers. And those barriers are, we're all scared shitless to talk to somebody. I don't know why, I can't stand it, but when people come to me, I'm engaged to talk about your business. So that's my lever into your world. And I think we all need to find those levers, and these guys are delivering. So kudos to you guys, thank you. I know we're trying to follow this streamline, but I'm more exactly impressed and happy that you guys are doing this because I know it's tough for all of you guys. So if you guys can't find a way to connect through talking and finding these ways to link, then maybe it's through hugging, maybe it's high fives, but do something to open up the door because there's a lot of brains in here that want to talk and want to share. And you don't know it if you don't start talking.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Okay, so just before we have you walk off, just make sure that if you have something that can help out with marketing, something to help out with PR, connect with Laura here. And we'll do what we can to support this great initiative here, all right?
I like it.
All right, good job.
All right, thank you very much, guys. And these guys are going to keep walking around and talking and helping connect. And I really think it's brilliant where they're coming up and talking to you to get information and then helping you connect later. So it's brilliant.
Is it okay if I just add one more thing?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So in the beginning, I kind of mentioned, just imagine what you can do with the potential collaborations with all the talented people in this room. So Jelly Social, what we truly are, imagine a room of 3,500 people. Because Jelly Social is actually a network of 3,500 entrepreneurs, and students that you can openly collaborate with, and we will actually facilitate connections and introductions for you with people throughout the network. All you have to do, go to our website, you'll see this big pink button, hit that button, fill out a form of what you want to collaborate on, the help you need, and we are going to get you connected. All right? So thank you, guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much, man. That was awesome. Okay, so just as you guys know, we're always finding ways to be innovative, change things up, make things a little bit different and exciting, and we're very excited to have you guys at our upcoming events because I think it brings a huge amount of value. So outside of that, you guys are going to walk around and network, and Jelly Social is going to help you guys chat more. If in our next event, as I said, we're going to do more breakout sessions that are going to allow you to connect to the people that you need to talk to, and they're going to be helping with that just as we're going to help as well. If you are a startup, normally we do the 30-second spots, but I think we're going to try and transition that to being more of talking to the groups and the people that you need to. So if you are a new startup and you are looking for investment, obviously feel free to come forward. You can send us an email. I'm not sure if it's on here, but you can hashtag us or follow us and ask any questions you have, and we'd be more than happy to jump in with that as well. You can follow me on Instagram. It's not that exciting, but man, it's getting up there. I'm really getting into it. So either way, thank you very much for coming out tonight. I think we should give a round for the YSpace team for bringing us here today. A hand for the advisors. A big hand for the startups for doing some kick-ass work. A hand for the sponsors and for you guys for coming out. And a high five for OPN for putting this on and having this nice big mural that we didn't stand in front of. Yes! All right, thank you very much, guys. Please network, talk, hang out, do those great things.